This is the Kybalion and Physics Part 4, called Balancing Energy. Did you know that there is no clear definition for electricity or magnetism? Physicists will talk about it using abstract mathematical equations, talk about what it does, but they can't give you a simple answer as to what is really happening. For example, with the physicist Richard Feynman, there is a 7.5-minute video of him trying to explain magnetism, but the interviewer keeps trying to press him until he finally almost gets a little upset and then finally admits that he can't explain it. He cannot explain it. Yet for some reason, even though he admits that he cannot explain magnetism, scientists claim that his explanation is adequate or really good. That's indoctrination. Indoctrination in science can be a really bad thing. So the same thing applies with electricity. There's a lot going on, and a lot of people have different theories based on the old atomic model that's incorrect. It hasn't really been explained. None of it has been explained. So I'm going to provide you with an explanation that is very simple. But before I do, I would just like to reiterate how an atom works. What you've missed in part 1, 2, and 3, we're only going to discuss the very basics of it. If you missed it, please go back. So an atom is made up of two different types of energy: outward moving light surrounded by inward moving dark energy. It's opposite. I've also defined the word inward parts as the tiniest measurements of dark energy that surround the nucleus of an atom. For example, one inward part is hydrogen, 2 is helium. Basically, inward parts replaces electrons when it comes to forming matter. I mean, when I explain it to my friends, it's actually very simple and very blunt. So if you wrap your hand around your other hand's index finger, we all know what that means. But that's how an atom really works. That finger that's being wrapped around, think of it as one point instead of a finger. The other hand wrapping around is what dark energy is. It works just like sex organs because it is the source of it. Which, if you think about it, the finger that's being wrapped isn't really a finger, it's a And what happens when the two come together? Yep, that's the cause for atomic vibration. That's right. Anyways, moving on. So what happens if there's an unbalance? What happens if there's more light in the nucleus? Or what happens when there's more dark energy surrounding the nucleus of an atom? There's obviously unbalance, and that's what this video is about. Unbalance in an atom causes the electromagnetic field, which I will be calling balancing energy. So here we go, the correct atomic model. In order to understand it, let's go back to inward energy. Let's go back to dark energy. Inward energy moving in a spherical pattern around the nucleus will naturally create a hole on the top and bottom of each atom. It's through these two holes that balancing energy comes out and can recycle if there is a need for balance. So let's think about this for a second. Imagine a candy wrapper around a round piece of candy. There's going to be twists at the top and the bottom on both ends. Those twists, if you cut them off, becomes a hole. That's exactly what I'm talking about. If you follow the movement, you can understand what I'm talking about. There will be a natural hole. The movement of inward energy can also be observed in tornadoes, whirlpools, or even flushing toilets. This movement follows a cycling pattern, getting tighter as it moves towards gravity. This same movement applies to atoms, as above, so below. Unbalance between the nucleus and the inward parts surrounding it creates a third type of energy that serves to balance out the atom. It is a balancing field. Depending on which is stronger, the balancing field will be more outward or more inward. Balancing energy exists to balance out the push between outward light and inward dark. It is both masculine and feminine, or anywhere in between. The balancing of an atom happens on the outside, not the inside, which is what quantum physics has been trying to push for a very long time. But I will get to debunking quantum physics in part 6, which I'm very excited for. Let's continue. So here it is, an explanation for the atom and all its properties. It's very simple. Quantum physics has never been able to give you this. It's actually the correct atomic model. The atomic model provided by the logic of the laws of nature explains how an atom works. It is one singularity of outward moving heat and light surrounded by inward moving dark energy, which we've covered. If there is a need for balance, balancing energy emerges. If the nucleus is stronger than the inward parts surrounding it, then excess heat and light are released through balancing energy. This is electricity, which is designated blue in this project. It will be referred to as outward balancing energy. Why it's designated blue will be explained in the next section, part 5, balancing energy in action. If the nucleus is weaker, then the balancing energy can carry in heat and light back into the nucleus, and this is magnetism, which will be designated red. It will be referred to as inward balancing energy. Like all things in nature, this atomic model shows functionality and purpose. Currently, balancing energy is called the electromagnetic field. Balancing energy only exists as long as an atom is unbalanced. Once an atom is balanced, it is no longer produced. All things move towards balance. Balancing energy moves in waves due to the vibration caused by the nucleus constantly pushing outward in a rhythm, which we talked about in part 1. The rhythm of the vibration directly affects balancing energy as it emerges, which is why it comes out in waves. In other words, the vibration causes the waves. The electro part of the electromagnetic field is caused by unbalance. It is the result of the nucleus of an atom being stronger than the inward parts surrounding it. Balancing energy releases the excess heat and light through the waves. Particles, or the packets of light being carried between the waves, can be considered electrons, but they come from the nucleus of the atom, not the surrounding dark energy. Depending on the size and frequency of the waves, particles will act differently. For example, compact waves will push out excess heat and light. This is electricity. Magnetism is also caused by unbalance. It is the result of the nucleus of an atom being weaker than the inward parts surrounding it. The balancing energy that emerges can carry in heat and light through the waves back into the nucleus. Balancing energy is masculine and feminine. With heat and light, it is more masculine. Without it, balancing energy is more feminine. The waves and balancing energy have an inward property which make it more feminine. Feminine balancing energy can attract light into the waves to take it back into the nucleus. This is the true definition of magnetism. Simple, right? As we know, a magnet will lose its magnetism when it is exposed to heat because the atoms become balanced. And we're talking about simple magnets here. Balancing energy recycles. As it loses its charge of heat and light, it will move towards the closest source of outward energy. The closest source of outward energy is the nucleus of the atom from which it came. The attraction between masculine and feminine keeps it recycling. When balancing energy is filled with heat and light, it is more masculine, so it is repelled by the nucleus. When it has lost that charge, it is more feminine, so it is attracted to the nucleus. In this way, balancing energy can efficiently recycle to achieve balance. Once balance is attained, balancing energy stops being produced. Unrecycled balancing energy would start to go in on itself in a spiral pattern. Although balancing energy can be recycled, some of it does not. As balancing energy loses its heat and light, it will look for more. If it does not find any, it will simply go in on itself, as is the nature of inward energy. Can we say antimatter? Balancing energy moves through the space between atoms. Because it naturally seeks balance, it is attracted to balanced atoms, which are usually considered metallic or having metallic properties. Pure metals are groups of evenly spaced, balanced atoms. Wherever electricity can go, magnetism can go. If you don't think that's true, those of you with Apple computers know that your chargers are magnetic. Some material does not conduct outward balancing energy, so it leaves a burn mark where it cannot go. That same material will not be magnetic. Recently, a new study of the movement of energy has emerged called Taurus, or the Taurus Field. This seems to be the study of balancing energy, but it is missing the atom in the center of which unbalance in an atom causes the Taurus field. It is also missing the fact that balancing energy moves in waves, which is caused by atomic vibration. Finally, it is missing the particles, which are carried in the waves. Nevertheless, it is a very interesting model that has contributed to the understanding of the movement of balancing energy, which you guys call the electromagnetic field. So, there it is. Pretty simple explanation. In part 5, I will be applying all this knowledge to different things so that we can understand how it works, so we can see it for ourselves. Hopefully it'll make sense. I think it will because it's really, 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 really simple. Well, that's it for now. Thank you so much for your time.